From the John DeVita Broadcast Center, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another broadcast of Paranormal Radio with Bob Trzeciak on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. So sit back and enjoy Paranormal Radio. And now, here is the number one king in Paranormal Radio, Mr. Bob Trzeciak.
Thank you, John DeVita. Thank you so much, sir. I'm glad to be back on again. The holidays are over now. We got a lot of things behind us there. We had a busy Halloween season. So for a while, we kind of got away from the show there for a little bit there. For a couple of months, we got away from it. The last show we've actually done was in September. And then October, I kind of had a hunch we weren't going to be able to do a show because I had just too many things going on in October. October was like every night of the week something going. And then November, I did have a couple of people scheduled and canceled, and this happened, that happened, and all that kind of stuff like that. And then December show, boom, something happened with that too, and then here we are now in January. But this is going to be a good one. I like this show. This is one of my favorite guests. He's been here before, Mikey, Mr. Mikey GST, Mr. Titanic. We were just, I just love because we just start talking. What do you want to talk about? He said, just do what we're doing right now. You know, before we started doing the show, we just started bantering things back and forth and talking, and he brought a few old books and things with, and we just started going back and forth. Before I do, look who just came in. Mr. Jack Chavez just came in. We just started, Jack. Come on, have a seat, and welcome to it. Mr. Jack Chavez is also going to be with us tonight, too. Before I start doing anything with Mike here, with Jack here, I wanted to make one announcement here. The local paper out where I live, well, actually not where I live, but over in Bridger, where I work, over at the McDonald's over there a couple of days a week, the Des Plaines Valley. And when I used to live in Summit, this was the paper out there. They did a story on an ABC TV miniseries, which was going to be aired this Thursday night coming up, January 6th, which will be Three Kings Day, January 6th, and it's going to be about Emmett Till's mother, Mamie Till Mobley. And the reason I wanted to bring this to light is because some years ago, I'm going back maybe 10 years ago now, the two gentlemen who were cousins of Emmett Till, I did a radio show with them. They were with him when he was abducted. One of them has since passed away. He's Mr. Simeon Wright, a nice gentleman, real nice gentleman, Simeon Wright. I actually wrote a book, Simeon's Story, all about him, growing up black in the South in Mississippi and what he went through and his life and all that. And, of course, about the Emmett Till abduction and that, what he knew being firsthand with him and that. And then the other gentleman was the Reverend Wheeler Parker. And Mr. Reverend Parker is very much still with us. And actually, he there's a young actor going to portray him in the series there. So that'll be coming up this Thursday night. I wanted to just mention that because I think it's a very worthwhile story. Where I live now, I'm very close to the Burr Oak Cemetery, right close to where Emmett Till is actually buried there. And like I said, I just thought, I knew them from Summit, and we used to all go to Dunkin' Donuts there, and I'd meet them in there and that, and we were talking one time about this, and I said, I can't pass this by. This would be a great show, So I had Reverend Parker came on, Simeon Wright came on, and then Mr. Bob Cott, who was like a historian from the Summit Argo area and did a lot of the history of the area and that. He came on the show, and we did a really fantastic show with these gentlemen, and just wanted to make mention of that now they're doing a TV series about this. And actually what it's about, the series is going to be called, it'll be on ABC this week, Thursday, January 6th at 7 p.m., and it's called Women of the Movement. It's all about women that had something to do with the civil rights movement, and that would definitely be Mamie Till, because definitely, seeking out the folks that murdered her son and all that and everything. And they're actually going to put a monument over by the Argo High School for her. I think they were having some trouble collecting some money for it or something, but it is going through, or it's sort of on hold now or whatever it is. But anyway, they want to put like a monument there, a statue or something to that effect for her. So I just wanted to make mention of that. Okay, so that was a while ago when I did that show. Gosh, I didn't know I was doing the show that long. It was actually before I was doing the show here at Windy City. I did that show over at WARG over there at Argo High. Up in room 400, the only room on the 4th floor. Oh. Yeah. Mikey, welcome to Paranormal Radio. Mr. Jack Chavez, welcome to Paranormal Radio. Okay, Jack, what did I bring down here to plug? Go ahead.
The convention.
Yeah, go ahead. Talk all about the convention.
Could you guys hear me?
I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit.
Give it a talk right into the thing there.
Testing.
Yeah, there now we got you.
Okay.
There it is, yeah. It just was angled the wrong way there, yeah.
So yeah, I want to promote the Chicago Paranormal Conference, Paracon, and that will be March 6th, Sunday, March 6th, from noon till 6 p.m. And Mr. Bob, you're going to be a reader there, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
some readings over there. It's on a Sunday, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I could do that for you. Sure, I'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah,
And so yeah,
I gotta pay you $5 for the table or something.
Right.
No, I know what it is. I'm messing with you.
but we're gonna have about 40 vendors. Bob will be
Cool.
one of them. Yeah.
Cool, yeah.
And we'll have 5 speakers.
Cool.
And
Who you got speaking?
We have Tony Zabelski.
Oh, cool. Tony's great. I
Um,
I left a message to Tony today. I went up on Facebook just a little bit before I came here.
Yeah.
I didn't have much time to be on there, and I said, if you're not doing nothing, drop by tonight.
Yeah.
We'll be on there. So yeah.
We'll have Barnaby Jones, who
Don't know
does.
Barnaby Jones.
Yeah, he's out in Wisconsin.
Wasn't it a TV series with
Beverly Hillbillies, I think.
Yeah, Buddy Ebsen.
Yeah, Buddy Epson.
Yeah, Barnaby Jones. Yeah. Jed Clampett.
Jed
yeah.
Clampett.
I've heard that before when I mentioned Barnaby Jones, but I've never heard that character.
After he did Jed Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies TV show for about 10 years, the show ran on TV. He took like a hiatus from TV, and then he came out and he was a detective. He was Barnaby Jones, a completely different role.
Is he still around?
Oh no, he's passed away. He's
Oh,
long
is he?
since passed away. Oh yeah, yeah. But matter of fact, I think the only cast member from Beverly Hillbillies left is Max Baer, who is Jethro.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he's the only one left. Yeah, Donna Douglas passed away, who was Ellie Mae, who all of us had a crush on Ellie Mae.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but they've all since passed away. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think there's another. I think the original Hollywood version of the Christmas Carol with Reginald Owen, I believe.
Oh God, yes. Yeah.
I think the only surviving cast member was or is now Tiny Tim.
I was just gonna say it was probably one of the
Tim,
kids,
yeah.
Tiny Tim.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. Now, was that the version with? Oh no, I think the Reginald Owen version is the one with. I can't think of the lady's name.
Jean
but on Maude, she played Mrs. Naugatuck, and she was Mrs. Cratchit in the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
She played Bob Cratchit's wife.
That's the one. Yeah.
But I don't know if it was that version of it. Yeah.
I don't know.
I forget her name. Her sister was Angela Baddeley, who was, oh my God, we're going to start going with this now. But her sister was Angela Baddeley, and Angela Baddeley played Mrs. Bridges on Upstairs Downstairs on public television many, many years ago. Upstairs Downstairs was sort of like Downton Abbey, same type of thing, upper class British family, servants, upstairs, downstairs, get it?
Wow,
That kind
yeah,
of thing like
yeah.
that. Difference being Downton, they live in a huge, high clear estate out in the country. Upstairs, downstairs, they were well-to-do, but they were in a townhouse in London.
That's nice.
So
What
it was
time
a
period
small,
is that from?
The same time period, same thing.
70s?
Our time frame was the 70s when
Yeah.
it first aired.
Okay.
When the show first aired, when it aired on the BBC, they aired it on Sunday nights at 10:30, and they thought the show was going to bomb. It was a huge success,
Wow.
and it became internationally famous. And it's rerun here a few times, and that. And Upstairs Downstairs was really a great series.
I met
yeah.
little Eddie Munster.
Oh
No
yeah,
kidding. Oh,
Butch
my
Patrick.
He was in. Yeah. That's his
Yeah,
name.
Butch Patrick. Yeah,
I took a picture with him. This was in Brookfield, Illinois. He was like doing like signing and stuff.
one of the
That's
conventions
nice.
or something. Yeah.
It was actually at an arcade that he was at, and he was just like had a table there.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Yeah.
He was actually on one of the People's Court cases too.
Oh my God.
On People's Court, he was on one time. Yeah, one of the People's Court things. Butch Patrick was on. I forget what the lawsuit was, but it was nothing bad against him or something like that. But he was on there, and the judge said, "Didn't you used to be on TV?" you know,
my God.
and he says, "Yeah, I used to be. I'm Butch Patrick. I used to be Eddie Munster. You know, and
Wow.
and I think Butch Patrick and I don't know if Beverly Owen is still with us. She might have passed away. The first girl that played Marilyn, but Pat Priest is still very much alive. Beverly Owen did the series as Marilyn. She did not want to do it. She wanted to do the Munsters. Her agent said, because she was East Coast. She was in New York. Her fiance was in New York. She was a stage actress. She loved the East and all that. And she didn't want to go to California to do the Munsters. He said, "Oh no, come on." He says, "You go there. It'll be a 2-week gig. Do the screen test for this show. It's going to pay $10,000. It'll never get picked up." And he says, "You'll be back home in 2 weeks." Well, lo and behold, she did the screen test for it. They picked up the series, and she was contracted, and she got stuck, and she was just miserable. Every day she went on the set and she cried and she wanted to be back home and all this. So Al Lewis, who played Grandpa, and Fred Gwynn, who played Herman, came to her rescue and said, "Look, get this girl out of her contract. She's just miserable being here. It's horrible what you're doing to her and that." So they brought in Pat Priest.
Wow.
And Pat Priest looked so much like her, and the costumes fit and everything, which they were very cost conscious when they filmed the Munsters. They were concerned very much with cost. That's when they never filmed it in color. because it would cost $10,000 per episode to film it in color in those days, and they filmed it black and white only.
Wait, who did she play? The wife?
She was she was the niece, the misfit niece.
Oh, okay.
The ugly duckling niece.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
and the two actresses looked so much alike, a lot of people weren't even aware that there was a switch. And Pat Priest's mother used to be Secretary of Treasury. If you collect currency, if you have some old currencies, like from, maybe the early 60s and earlier,
Yeah.
you'll see the signature Priest on it. That's her mom.
Oh,
Her
wow.
mom used to be Secretary of Treasury.
Oh, very nice.
I know my stuff, man. I tell you.
Oh,
I
man.
do my homework. I tell
That's
you.
awesome. Oh, my God.
Anyway, let's get back to the convention. So
Oh,
Tony
I
Sabelski's
forgot about
talking, and Barnaby Jones.
Barnaby
That's how we
Jones.
started this, with Barnaby
Right.
Jones.
he is a cryptozoologist. So
Whatever
he's a,
that is. Oh,
he's
animals.
a Bigfoot hunter.
Bigfoot.
Oh,
yeah.
Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Cryptozoology is the science of unexplained animals.
Cryptoids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Animals that have not yet been discovered by science. So like Bigfoot.
So Bigfoot is unexplained and hasn't been discovered.
Right.
Oh.
Lake monsters.
Loch
Chupacabra. Yeah.
Oh, the Chupacabra, yeah.
So Barnaby Jones, Dan Guzman, who's from the back of the yards neighborhood. He is an empath psychic. And I met him about 2 years ago. Really nice guy. And then me.
Oh, you can talk too. Good.
Yeah.
Very
See,
good.
that's cool. Yeah. See, that's the thing with these conventions, though. The same thing happened like when I did the Kylie's thing over there in Bridgeview and that. Is I'm up there doing readings and that, and I don't get to see or hear anybody or that. I didn't even get to meet Sven Gulli. I mean, I saw him up there signing autographs and shaking people's hands and that, but I didn't get to go because I'm so busy down there. I got a line of people. I'm doing palm readings and that, so I don't get to hear or see anything.
Right.
And then I was actually I did one of the presentations over there with Kylie's too, so that. So you're busy doing that. Right after the presentation, you go back and you're doing your readings, and you're stuck in there, so you don't get to circulate around and all that. But I'm going to try to circulate over yours, because I want to meet some of these people. Yeah. Tony, I already know. I know Tony.
Yeah, you already know Tony.
Tony is I used to call Tony. I still do call Tony Tim Conway of Paranormal Radio. Tony came on this show so much. I said it's like how like on Carol Burnett's show they had Tim Conway on so much as a guest star. Finally, like the last season of the show, Carol Burnett said, why don't we just make him a regular? Why is he always a guest star? And that's how Tony is with this show. He just came on so much. He's a great guy. Tony was always a great guest. Love having Tony. He came on this show here, and he was also on when I was doing the shows at WARG. So Tony's been doing Paranormal Radio with me for a long time, about 10 years at least. Yeah.
Well, 10 years.
Yeah. I didn't know the show was on that long, but I started looking up some old stuff about it and photos of people and stuff. I'm like, hey, caramba! And your Titanic guy, Bruce Beveridge, was on this show, but not here. He wasn't in this studio. He was at WARG. Had Bruce on, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a new book out right now. Bruce and another gentleman and another historian. I'm looking forward to that. It's supposed to be coming out soon.
Bruce is very technical. He does all the construction of the ship, the technology and all that.
Yeah.
He's more in that,
Yeah.
More into that end of the story. So, back to the convention before we start changing subjects here. So we're going to do that the 6th of March.
Yep.
You have an admission for that? Tell everybody where it's at. We got to let them know.
So it's at Piscadon Banquets.
What is it?
Piscadon. That's
Piscadon?
Yeah, so that's spelled Pescadon.
This is on 65th in Harlem or 63rd
No,
in Harlem?
63rd in Harlem.
Oh, okay. I think I know exactly.
So
I lived on. Wait a minute. I lived on 63rd in Harlem.
yeah,
I lived right off. I lived on the corner of 63rd and Harlem.
The
Where's
tracks
this at?
are right there too.
Yeah,
yeah.
where's this at?
It's a very large building right on the corner, literally on the corner of 63rd and Harlem.
Why can't I think where this is? And I just went past there today too, coming here.
Wow.
I just went past the old homestead.
Yeah, that's.
Now wait a minute. It's not. Is it on the Chicago side or
no,
the Summit side?
It's got to be Summit, I think.
Summit. It's in Summit. Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. 63rd and Harlem.
Think, Bob.
The Shell gas station is there.
Shell gas. Yeah.
The Enterprise car rental. My house,
Bingo.
my old house is right there. Across the street, there were a couple of factories.
Well, the Shell gas station is a little bit down the road, a little bit.
It's under construction right now. There's something going on.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then Argo High is a little further down on 63rd.
Yeah, that's still further down.
Yeah, wasn't it like a German place before? They had like German food there or something.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Long time ago,
It was a tavern. The tavern is still
Tavern.
there, but they've built upon that tavern now.
Yeah,
I know where
yeah.
you're at.
Yeah.
Now I know.
Yeah.
I know.
But yeah, we should have my laptop.
Right in my old neighborhood. From my house, I could walk right there. I know exactly where I used to live, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah, I know exactly where it's at. Yep.
That's cool. Yeah.
I'll be there.
Okay.
You'll be there too, Mikey.
Yeah.
It's free entrance.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask you too.
Yes.
Is there an admission to get into this?
No, there's no admission. So,
Okay.
yeah, it's just
Okay,
I wanted to try to make everything as fair as possible, since I'm not really too known in the paranormal. So I can't expect people to pay this exorbitant amount of money when they don't even know who I am. You know what I'm saying?
Well, $10 isn't exactly an exorbitant amount of money.
No, but I just for the first time. You know,
I get you.
I would like to. My goal is to expand, probably get a bigger venue eventually.
That's nice.
But right now, let's just see how it goes
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, I didn't know too much about the paranormal when I first started at all. I just fresh out of high school. It was 2002, and I was just like I was interested.
2002.
2002. Yeah, I know.
Oh God.
Wait, so you have to tell me your story. Like, how did you get into this?
Honestly, I've always been fascinated about the subject for a while, but I never really dabbled into it too much. It was right out of high school. I said, okay, well, we were moving down south here, and the only famous, locations that are down here down south is, of course, Bachelor's Grove Cemetery and Resurrection Cemetery, Resurrection Mary and stuff. And I became really fascinated about it when I first heard about the Unsolved Mystery special, as the Halloween special they had back in, I think 1988, with Robert Stack. Boy, that whet my appetite. I always loved their shows.
That was I think that was a Resurrection Mary episode.
It was a Resurrection Mary.
Yeah.
Oh, combined. Yeah, I think it was Resurrection Mary. I think...
Is he still with us, or did he pass on?
He
Robert
passed.
Stack?
He passed.
Robert Stack passed
Bob
away?
Stack, yeah.
Elliot Ness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Untouchables.
Yeah.
Ever since then, I just became hooked. I said, I have to know more and more and more. And I said, I didn't want to do... I wanted to do this the right way, nothing illegally, go into these cemeteries during the day, check everything out, because I did some research here and there. It says you're not supposed to be venturing off at a certain time. You don't want to get in the slammer right away. This is crazy. You don't want to do that.
Not right away.
So yeah, it's like you really have to have respect, a lot of respect, and that's with even our organization. I'm with the Ghost Research Society with Dale Kashmir, and got my
oh,
got
nice.
my
Okay.
and a wonderful group. I learned so much. I've been to so many places here and there. The last places we went to were Gettysburg last year. I've never been to Gettysburg before. Fantastic stuff. And we got quite a year this year as well too. It's pretty cool.
How long have you been with the group for?
I think this year I think it'll be 17. Look, I'm counting on my fingers now. About 4 or 5 years now, and I think it was in June. I think is when I signed up. Very, very cool. And but yeah, I became very interested in this whole this whole field around that time, 2002ish or so, and I started dabbling it now professionally. We don't get paid to do anything. Seriously,
as professional as we could be in this field.
Exactly, right. Yeah, exactly. We try to help the client out as much as possible and report back, whatever we do, find evidence, so forth. I've learned a lot. I really have learned a lot. Of course, you learn to be more respectful through the years as well, too.
Yeah.
And make sure it doesn't get a hold of you as well.
You said a big key there, and that's something that I always say too. I says, sometimes I got to step away from it a little bit.
Bingo.
When I see it start becoming too overwhelming and I start getting too absorbed in it, I take a break. Yeah. I'll go and do a program on Titanic, or I'll do a program. Anything can be obsessive. Like Titanic can be obsessive. Anything can be obsessive, and I'll take a break and I'll go and work on something else, or just not work on anything, and just step back a little bit. Time to take a break from it, give it a couple weeks rest, and get back into it again, and that's it. Sometimes you got to step away.
I think I like to follow the old actor. He's passed away now. Awesome actor, Jack Lemmon. Jack Lemmon. I always remember what he said when he was on that one program. He says, "Don't let the acting control you. You control the acting." Same thing with everything that we're in right now, paranormal, being historians and all that great stuff now.
Yeah.
Because this stuff can get to you.
Oh,
it
yes,
really
it can. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Emotionally, it can bring you down so much if you're not really strong enough to bring yourself out of certain things. You're really going to be way down for a while. You know, so you're right. Having a break here and there.
You got it. Sometimes you just step away for a little bit. That's it. Keep your sanity. Don't let it get you. Yeah.
And don't let the people get you too.
Oh gosh, no! Forget that.
I know when to remove some people from my life for the better. Even though if they're not bad, it's probably best to back away. Once you start noticing things, it's best to free yourself from things because you don't want to get involved in stuff like that. So that's what I try to do. It's heartbreaking. It's not what you meant to. It's no ill intent in whatsoever. It's just that you got to do what's best for you.
Well, it's because sometimes the paranormal gets a hold of a person that you could see it, and you're like, you need to back away from that person.
There's a few folks that I know pretty well that it's sort of happened to.
Yeah.
It's not happening; it's happened. It's just a little too much. And I says, no, you can't let that happen. And it can be that way with anything. I know people with Titanic that actually go so far they get so into it they actually think they're reincarnated from somebody that was on the ship and all that. Come on already. You just gotta. All right. It's good to be absorbed in this. It's great that you're interested in all this, but time out here. Time out.
Yeah, you got to be rational. You got to think of the others. But absolutely.
I had a psychic tell me that. God, what was the famous psychic some years ago? She used to do a newspaper column. Oh, I can't think of her name, but she was really famous at one point. She always did the column in the Sun-Times. Anyway, she was doing a thing. There used to be a place, Little Bit of Magic, over on Pulaski one time.
Georgia Nichols?
No.
She's a horoscope astrologist, I think.
No. And anyway, but one time there was a bunch of us all went to go see her and that, and she sat down with me and she says, yeah, you're connected with the sea and with shipping and with the disaster somehow, and that I shouldn't cross the water. And I did. I went to Europe, I've crossed in, and I went to Cancun, and that I crossed the water, but maybe just at that time she didn't want me to do it. But and I knew what that was instantly because I had belonged to the Titanic Historical Society. So I said, well, that's what she's picking up on. Of course, I never mentioned it to her. She knew it.
I was just going to say, so she didn't even know that you were connected.
Oh, wow. No, not at all. No. But she says, no, you're connected. And she was recommending that I have a chart or something done, which I never did do. I never did pursue that. But yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it does happen. Yeah.
I think it was William T. Stead, I believe, the novelist.
Yeah, the author. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and boy, he had so many revelations. Here and there. It was like, should I do this? Should I do it? I think, was he a teacher too for a little while?
William T. Stead was that, and he was also very much a humanitarian too.
Yeah.
Very much concerned with the causes of the poor and bettering people's lives and those type of things. Yeah, very much with that he was concerned. Yeah,
he was on board, and unfortunately he was lost in the disaster too. So it was terrible. But yeah, so many people had these bad feelings stepping on board. They actually stepped off.
Yeah.
It's like, should I be doing this stuff here? I think it was. Now you're traversing to the conspiracies now. What happened to J.P. Morgan? Where was he at the time of the disaster?
His luggage was on the boat, but he wasn't.
Yeah, and then of course you got the switch theories.
With the Olympic Titanic.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's not silly. You know what?
Just in case you're not wondering what he just talked about there, the switch theory is some people say that actually it wasn't Titanic that went down. What they actually did is they sunk the Olympic. The Olympic was a damaged ship. So what they did is they actually changed names on it and changed some of the shipping, some of the paperwork and things like that, and made the Olympic the Titanic and sunk the Olympic deliberately to collect insurance, which is kind of silly because I think Titanic cost, what was it, $7 million to build? $7.5 million, to build, and the insurance claims on it didn't cover anywhere near that because the ship was unsinkable, so they didn't have to insure it. Right. I think cargo and personal claims were probably more than top.
Wait, but what about all the people then? How did they do that?
You did not. The first class people, no one from first class sued for loss of life. There were no loss of life claims from anybody in first class, and very, very few. Of course, today would be a different ball game.
Right.
and very, very few other people sued for loss of life. One third-class man, Daniel Buckley, went down on the ship, and his father sued for loss of life because his son was coming to the States for a better position for himself, and the father still remained in Ireland, and he was the sole support of his father. And he said, well, I just lost my support. My son supported me. He got $300. They settled his claim. He got $300. Yeah, and it took a while to settle these claims. Then the flip side of the coin, Mrs. Charlotte Drake Cardazia, one of the wealthiest women on board, very independent, very author, well-to-do. Traveled with the whole. She had rented one of the more expensive suites on the ship. Traveled with an enormous amount of luggage, which in Edwardian days they did do that. The upper class did, and she sued for everything. She filed a 22-page claim for insurances, which of course they curtailed down, and you got very, very little less. And then the Carters, filed a claim for their $5,000 automobile, their Renault touring car. They went down with the ship too. So, but over time, Titanic, the White Star Line really trimmed down those claims, and people got very, a fragment of what they were asking.
But for the switch theory, how did they explain? Because people died obviously on the Titanic.
Well,
so
it did. No, not that. What they actually did is just switch the ships. The Olympic hadn't been involved in a slight accident.
HMS Hawk.
There was a collision, and so the Olympic was a damaged ship. Titanic was brand spanking new, hadn't been in anything yet or anything. So they figured, well, the damaged ship will sink, we'll keep the good ship going. And what they basically did is just switched the names on the ships because the two were almost identical. They're actually supposed to be. Well, there were three. There was the Olympic, the Titanic, and then it was supposed to be the Gigantic. But then after the Titanic disaster, they opted for patriotism and renamed the ship the Britannic. But it never served as a passenger liner. World War I broke up, and it was a Red Cross hospital ship, and it got sunk. Yeah, it went down too. So what they actually did was they were saying that it was the damaged ship that sunk and not the good one. So it was really the Olympic that went down and not the Titanic. But I don't buy it. Titanic went down. Yeah.
Everything has pretty much been cataloged properly. Everything. They even went down the submersible. They got the yard number. Titanic's yard number was 401, and they looked in the back of Titanic's propeller as they went down there to research and survey the entire debris field. They found Titanic's, I think, starboard propeller, even though it was like. When the ship...
It's half buried in the
sediment. When it came down, it actually came down propeller first, hit down into the sediment, and then relaxed itself. So that's why you see the wing propellers kind of bent up and all shoddy and all this stuff. But they found one of the wing propellers there, one of the blades, had it stamped 401. And not only that, but they identified the name in front of the bow, too. I think it was 85, Bob Ballard's expedition. I think they barely recognizable, but they got it though. The name Titanic, Titanic. So
it's on there, and it's on other things too. Of course, now it would have been very easy to just switch ships stationary and things around. Take the Olympic stationary out, put Titanic stationary in. Very easy to do, but there was more to it. Like you said, there were serial numbers, there were things, there were other things. Yeah. So that's why it was the Titanic that went down. Yeah.
Well, what about the theory that that it was missiles took it down?
Missiles.
In
1912?
Interesting.
Well, it's like submarine torpedoes. I'm sorry.
You're talking about
I'm sorry, torpedoes.
You're talking about Lusitania.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's like one of the conspiracy theories with the Titanic, that torpedoes took down the Titanic.
Torpedoes were relatively new in 1912 still.
I remember the Hunley.
They were still relatively new. They had little propellers on them, too.
Yeah.
The torpedoes did,
I think it was like one-person man submersible for that thing.
Yeah.
But the only
the Lusitania, that was not. It's a few years later. World War I breaks out. Was definitely torpedoed. But they were also carrying arms. They said they weren't.
And I think in the old history books. Oh my God, old history books. Here we go. Social studies. In one of the pages there, I remember it says here for Lusitania, people coming aboard here, they have a warning notice. That you were traveling under enemy lines here, so be very careful about that. And but yes, since it was wartime, that actually gave the Germans a legal advantage, saying that whether if it's a hospital ship is a different story.
Well, they were not a hospital ship.
Exactly.
They were a passenger.
Right. It was a passenger vessel.
/ cargo. I
Yeah.
think they were also
Yeah.
a Royal Mail steamer too. Weren't
Yes.
they were licensed to carry mail
Exactly.
too. So
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
they were carrying, in addition to which, they were also carrying a great deal of arms to Great Britain.
That's the thing. If you're helping
Yeah.
out the war efforts, then
Yeah.
you're targeted. So,
And they went down very fast.
very quickly.
Yeah, Lusitania sunk very quickly. Titanic took its time sinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lusitania went down very quickly. Britannic went down very quickly too.
Mm-hmm.
Britannic was torpedoed.
Mined. That's been,
mined,
That's
yeah.
been the German U-boat. I think was I can't remember the exact name, but they have been referenced though. I guess in a court of law that they were laying mines in that field there. It was in the Greek islands, Mudras Islands, in the Kea Channel, and of course. Britannic did not have any air conditioning whatsoever, even though it was in 1915, 1916, I think it was 1916, November of 1916, and so it was a hospital ship. It wasn't carrying. I think it was carrying some munitions on board. I think they did have a gun on one of the turrets there on the forecastle deck. I think I'm not sure, but. The Britannic was sailing through this channel here, and again, it was struck on the starboard side, similar to Titanic, and it was a big explosion. It actually lifted the entire bow section and kind of twisted and turned the entire frame of the ship there, and it actually broke some of the masts. There's 4 cables on the mast there. I mean, from keel to mast. To mast is about 230 some feet high. You're really way up there, and those masts is actually carrying the cable for the wireless operator. And there's 4 cables, and when this event happened, everything jolted out of the place, and some of the wires came splashing down on the wireless quarters. And so, in other words, they were sailing for help, but they couldn't receive anything. So they were sending messages out to shore, but they couldn't listen to them. So
you had no idea if anybody got the messages or not.
Exactly, right.
The amount of damage that the Britannic sustained, the way you said, the ship just lifted up out of the water and then came down.
The whole thing.
Indicating that it was an internal explosion as well as a mine. So indicating that, they possibly were carrying some weaponry too that went off,
Possibly.
We don't know. We don't know for certain, but... Britannic's been explored because it's in pretty shallow water. It's easy to get down to the Britannic's wreck, so they've gone down there and looked at that.
How many died there?
Oh, quite a lot died on the Britannic. Yeah, a lot of them. Some met a very horrible demise. What actually happened was the captain actually reversed the engines on the ship. Reversed the engines, so that when the ship got hit, the propellers were still going. The triple screws were still going, and some people were actually dragged into the screws and just hacked up and chopped up in the water and that.
They had a few officers who didn't know what the heck they were doing, and they were launching boats unauthorized. And they were sending people down on these small boats and just lowering one right after another. And the captain...
same thing happened in 1912, didn't it, on Titanic? One almost came down on top of the other one,
That's horrible.
I know.
God. Yeah, and...
you think in 6 years or 3 years later they would have improved it a little bit, But,
oh, my God.
But, when it gets hit like that and it goes down so quickly, you don't have to... And then the thing, too, with Britannic, you could only use boats on one side of the ship because of the tilt of it. Mm-hmm. The other side, they couldn't launch boats, so you could only launch the boats from one side. So anybody that got off in a boat got off on that side,
God.
And then some of those boats are dragged into the triple screws on this ship and just, hacked to pieces. Yeah.
It was under an hour, I think 58.
Yeah, very quickly it went down.
Yeah. And when it did sink, it sank, of course, head first all the way down, and it sank in only 400 feet of water. And when the bow touched the impact of the sediment of the ocean, its rear end was still sticking up in the air. And when it finally rested, it went over on its side, on the right hand side there. Of course, it embedded the bow, twisted it up and mangled it as it went in there, so it dug in there. But still to this day, this is the largest vessel in the world that's very preserved. It's now a coral reef, and people can explore. Professional divers. One professional diver that I'm very good friends with, his name is Richie Kohler. Richie Kohler. He has discovered, so many things. He's plotted wonderful courses to the Britannic and explored. It's like a labyrinth inside this beautiful vessel. It's amazing, and they have a few documentaries he was into.
Well, Britannic basically was the same layout as Titanic and Olympia. It was supposed to be a luxury liner, and that's what it was supposed to be. But of course, like we say, World War I broke out, so it was never fitted out as a passenger liner.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was put into, carpet and furnishings and woodwork and everything was put into storage, fitted out as a hospital ship, a Red Cross ship, and that was it. So figuring after the war they'll fit it as a passenger liner, that'll be it. Of course, that never happened.
Does your friend have any ghost encounters?
I haven't asked him, but I have met him, and he's such a wonderful guy.
People claim they do. Some people claim when they go over the spots where the wrecks went down that they have these funny things happen to them. And that, just like people in Chicago River with the Eastland disaster.
With Eastland,
Same thing.
Oh my God.
Anything like that, where you have that amount of death like that happening, and people losing, in a short time like that, in an unexpected death like that. You would stand the reason that you'd have something happen with that. Yeah.
I think it was Bill Paxton, the guy who played the one in the 1997 movie, and they were on another expedition.
He passed away too, didn't he?
Young guy,
yeah.
I think
a couple
of
years ago
situation or something like that. But they were doing I think a 2003 expedition. I think the documentary is called or film made by Walt Disney Pictures. It's Ghosts of the Abyss.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And,
we got to wear the 3D glasses.
Yeah, the 3D. I remember that time. Oh my God, I was fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
And and he says at the very last day that they were diving down there, they were on the research vessel, the Keldysh, and at the fantail there, he was just looking out into the ocean there, in the back. And what he saw was like a white halo effect right over the wreck. And he was saying, oh my God, it's such an ethereal feeling that, that's really so, it just gets to you, who knows what could be there.
Well, for a number of years, many ships avoided going over the spot where the Titanic went down, with the known spot where it went down.
Yeah.
And then, of course, too, they did move the shipping lines further anyway, to get them more out of the ice field. But a lot of ships purposely avoided the spot, it was just bad luck. And then a few people have had their ashes thrown over the spot where the ship went down, too.
Yeah.
A few people that survived when they passed away, they wanted their remains scattered over the spot where the ship went down, and,
What do you think it is about the Titanic that draws people in?
Well, it's what it is. It's not any one thing. It's a combination of a lot. Number one, it's the ship itself. It's the era itself. It's that era of that elegance and that travel. Mm-hmm. It's that perfect situation of where it could go wrong. It did. The 1 in a million thing. Titanic is synonymous with disaster. Anything. That's it. So it's just that way. But I don't think it's any one thing in particular. I think it's a combination of things that caught the public's attention with it, and plus just the simple fact that something like that happened. Something like that happened in a time of peace. And it just did. And of course that changed everything. Right after that, lifeboats for everybody, radio out, 24-hour radio, all kind of things changed. Titanic was the first time SOS was used.
Yes.
Up until then, the call for disaster was CQD, come quickly distress.
Yes. Yeah.
And they were the first ones to use SOS.
Why did that change? Why did it change?
They just decided to use it. Yeah, they used it. Yeah.
It was a very, very new signal that was going. I think their
radio was relatively new itself in 1912.
Oh yeah. Marconi. They said let's put his stuff into our ship, and if anything should happen, at least it's got a good carrying.
Sure, Marconi
message.
was synonymous with radio. Yeah,
absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Olympic. I think she heard her signals when she was sinking.
But they were too far away. Matter of fact, Daniel Burnham was on there.
Burnham
was on the Olympic. He was on the Olympic, and his good friend, William, they worked together on the Columbian Exposition, was on the Titanic. Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? Yeah. Isn't it crazy how stuff is connected? Yeah. And then there were some passengers on the Carpathia that had relatives on Titanic.
Yeah.
And when they got rescued, they says, "Oh, your niece is here to see you." And they said, "What? Our niece is on Titanic." "No, she's here now."
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh my God. Yeah, you're right. It's very synonymous with the era. You know,
yeah.
it's such a romantic.
Yeah, it's the whole
era.
thing, that Edwardian
Yeah.
era. Never again. Well, of course, right after that, things changed too. The
Yeah.
Edwardian upper class, the Downton Abbey, upstairs,
Yeah.
downstairs, upper class, never had it quite so good again after Titanic. A couple of things happened there. Number one, people realized they weren't infallible. I mean, these people were the titans and the captains of industry. They were the wealthy. They were the cream of the crop. They were the celebrities of their day.
Right.
If they couldn't save themselves from something like this, you know, who could? You know, so
Yeah.
if this could happen to them, it could happen to anybody. And of course, they never again had it so good where it was, well, we save them first, and kind of everybody else fends for themselves. And then also, too, World War I came. That changed the class system quite a bit. And then a little thing called income tax, where they would never have it quite so good again financially, where you
Ever.
could build up these huge fortunes without ever paying taxes like that. So a few things happened that kind of changed the class system quite a bit. But the travel at that time for people in that class, if you were capable of paying that type of money, was just unbelievable. It's a way of travel that just no one knows today how that was. It was just like super elegance and super, you know, you changed clothes 4 times a day, 5 times a day you changed clothes. You traveled with 20 steamer trunks of clothes. I mean, you had a manservant, you had a lady's maid. There were rooms on the ship for your maid. There were rooms on the ship for your chauffeur if he happened to be traveling with you.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, you never had it quite. And if you couldn't provide your own maid, we could provide a stewardess for you, a cabin steward that would, you know, cater to your every whims and needs. You know,
Yeah.
This was a class of people that were, you know, used to being pampered. You know.
Yeah. I think they just lost complete hope in their machinery after that. Of course, you know, you had the Wright brothers before them. I think that's probably what started it. Hey, if we can fly, right now we can sail.
The Wright brothers didn't like
you know.
electricity.
Yeah.
They didn't like electricity. They had in their home in Michigan, they had gas lighting still in the house. They were afraid of electric shocks. Now here they were flying airplanes up in the air. They weren't afraid of that, but they were afraid of electric lighting. They still had gas lighting, gas jets in their house.
Yeah.
Because gas had been the tried and true thing, you know. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Then we got what of course, Queen Mary and the Hindenburg. I think.
Oh yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And
Costa Concordia was the one, the Italian ship a few years back to Costa Concordia.
I cannot get that out of my brain. There was an
And
Italian.
then the
liner.
captain jumps off the ship before anybody else does. Yeah, how do you like that one? Yeah.
I think he's still serving time. He's going to be serving time for a
yeah.
long
He's
while.
He's got a life sentence.
Isn't this the
Absolutely.
one where they actually told him that he needs to go back?
Yep.
Yeah.
He jumped. The captain jumped ship and left the passengers and crew to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
Without the captain there to give orders, he jumps in a boat and hightails it out and makes it to the coast and gets off the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can check into the Marriott. From
That's
here.
one thing about EJ. That's one thing about EJ. As far as we know, he stayed on the ship to the end. You know.
Yeah.
There's a few stories about
A
EJ
lot.
Smith. What happened to him? Captain of Titanic, Edward John
okay.
Smith.
Yeah.
There's a few stories about his demise. You know, but as far as anybody can tell, he did his duty. He stayed there, and it was kind of unfortunate for him because at his age, at 60, that was to be his retirement voyage.
Yeah.
After that, he was retiring from service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the captain of the Britannic also sank with...
I know.
He got rescued.
he
Yeah,
did?
he got rescued. Yeah, he got rescued. Yeah.
There was only 30 fatalities in the Britannic. The funny thing you mentioned that too, because the captain of the Britannic also oversaw the construction of the Britannic, the sailing of the Britannic, and the destruction of the Britannic, all in one. And he served for a little while, I think, during the war, and that was about it.
Yeah. None of Titanic's surviving crew or officers, the highest ranking officer would have been Herbert Lightoller.
Right.
He was the highest ranking surviving officer on Titanic. None of their crew ever again served in any kind of a position of authority after Titanic.
Yeah,
They kept them with White Star Line. They kept them in their employ and everything, but they sort of quiet about it. A lot of sailors wouldn't want to sail on a ship with somebody like that, thinking it would be jinxed, superstitions of the sea,
Yeah, that's
that type
true.
of thing like that. So a lot of them didn't do that. They didn't do that. Now Violet Jessup, who a lot of people overlook, oh, good old Vi. Yeah, she was great. She had the distinction of being on all 3 ships during a disaster. Violet Jessup, of course, was a stewardess. And in those days, in 1912, women didn't have many employment opportunities. You were a wife, you were a mother, you worked in a general store or something, and, that was kind of it. There wasn't much. But she had what it took for a life at sea. She was a first-class stewardess in the first class, and she was on the Olympic. The Olympic had its little collision and they dry docked at the Olympic for repairs and everything like that. And about this time, Titanic's ready for its launch. So they transferred off their experienced crew and people and put them on Titanic. So she was on Titanic. Of course, Titanic hits. She gets rescued in a lifeboat on Titanic. She gets off. She's in one of the later boats go off with a bunch of third-class passengers. She gets rescued, and then she serves as a nurse in World War I on the Britannic. And she went down on the Britannic. But by this time, she already had some experience with sinkings into disasters. So she said when she got rescued from the Britannic, first thing she did is she says, whoever picked them up, she says, I headed right for the gift shop, and I went to get a toothbrush. Because the last 2 wrecks I was on, I couldn't get a toothbrush because everybody beat me to it, and they went to the shop and took all the toothbrushes, So she knew what she was doing that time. But then White Star asked her, they says, well, would you like to continue on our service? And she says, I don't think so. Maybe after being on 3 collisions here, I'll still stay at sea, but maybe with another line. So she did transfer over to somebody else. Interesting story about her now. When she got off the lifeboat on the Titanic, she stood up, turned around, and someone handed her a baby in the lifeboat. She had the baby the whole time she was in the lifeboat, the Titanic lifeboat. Now I'm talking about, right? They get picked up by the Carpathia. She's on the deck, still holding the baby. She said a woman saw her, ran up to her, never said a word to her, took the baby out of her arms, and that was the end of that. She figured this is the mother, c'est la vie. She never heard hide or hair of it again, nothing. Years later, in the 60s, she's retired. She retired into Southwold, I think it was, in England, in a very picturesque cottage that she lived in her retirement and everything. And during bad thunderstorms, her phone on the wall would tend to ring, 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 without, control. Couldn't stop it ringing. So very often she would just take it off the hook and the storm was over and she put it back on. But she says one such time it was ringing, 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 she decided to answer it. And the person on the other end said, are you the Violet Jessup was stewardess on the Titanic? She says, yes, I was. The person said, well, I was the baby that you held in your arms and rescued. And she said the two of them never connected. They never connected, but she said she firmly believed that was the person. And at that time, she was writing her story, her
memoir,
Titanic stewardess. She was writing her biography, and her publisher said, well, you have to relate this. She's, no, I never told the story to no one. You didn't even know it. She said, I never told that story to anybody. So the person, it had to be the person.
Yeah, but how would they have known?
They tracked her down somehow. Yeah, somehow they tracked her down to where she was retired to, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was a neat lady. She had a long career at sea,
Yeah.
very attractive, very pretty. She was kind of a knockout. She had a lot of proposals for marriage by a lot of very important first-class passengers. A lot of people requested her as stewardess.
Did she end up getting married?
She never married. No, Vi never married. She never married. She lived in retirement on a very small pension, so she didn't live in poverty, but she didn't have a lot of wealth. She later, like when she was in her 60s, managed to save enough money together, and she bought herself a used car, and she learned to drive, and then the car was involved in a wreck. So then after that, she didn't drive anymore. That was it. She raised chickens. She saw her sister and that kind of thing like that, and she lived her life in that. When she passed away, I think she passed away in a convalescent home, but she still had all her hair and all her teeth and was sharp as a wit and everything and very smart and all that. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
But she turned down a lot of marriage proposals from some very wealthy people. And she said, no, I don't want to do that. Didn't want to get married, yeah.
Wow.
One gentleman gave her a very, very expensive dresser set, like hairbrush and combs and that kind of thing, all silver and all that.
Wow.
And he says, I didn't engrave this, Vi. He says, I'm giving to you unengraved as a gift, because he says, later on down the line, you may need the money for something. If you want to sell it, you could sell it if it's not engraved. If I engraved it for you, and she did. She wound up selling that set, and I think that's how she bought the car.
Oh,
no
wow.
kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it worked out good for her. So the guy knew what he was doing, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh my God. The officers they went into battle and Lightoller, I think.
During World War II.
That's when
he made many trips back across Dunkirk and rescued a lot of soldiers and stuff.
He was a hero.
He wound up raising chickens too. He raised some of the Titanic survivors and chickens.
Oh my God.
Violet Jessup raised chickens for some extra cash. She did that. She raised chickens. Herbert Lightoller wound up raising chickens. Yeah.
And
Frederick Fleet hung himself in 1967 from a clothesline.
Who was he?
Frederick Fleet was the lighthouse, the crow's nest, the lookout. Lookout, yeah. He actually spotted the iceberg. In 1967, 68,
yeah.
His wife passed away. He had been living with his brother-in-law, and he was selling newspapers on a corner stand and that. And then the wife passed away, and so the brother-in-law and sister-in-law asked him to move. And he became despondent and hung himself in the backyard. from a clothesline. And his Titanic memorabilia wound up going in the garbage, which promoted Commuta it prompted him to start the Titanic Historical Society.
Yeah.
He's, oh my God, this man, he had his keys, he had a menu in his pocket, he had buttons from his uniform, and you just took the stuff and threw it in a dumpster. This is Titanic stuff, And so that prompted him to. But then Commuta kind of whacked out a little bit there too, and thought he was Captain Smith reincarnated. There again, somebody absorbing themselves.
Wait, literally? Or?
Literally. Somebody absorbed themselves a little too much into the project. Did you ever go to any, you belong to Titanic Historical Society?
Yeah, I'm a gold member. Yeah.
Did you ever go to any of their, I'm sorry I didn't, because when they invited me to go, there were a lot of survivors still alive, and I didn't go.
Wow.
And I'm sorry I didn't. Now,
Where is it at?
Boston, Massachusetts.
They're located
really?
in Boston, yeah. That's where they're based out of, yeah. But they invited me to go to some of their conventions and things. They used to have survivors there.
Yeah.
And you would get autographs and pictures and all that kind of thing and that. And I didn't go. And I'm kind of sorry I didn't.
I think I Google mapped their facility, and it's kind of a small institution.
It's not a big thing, no.
No, I was thinking, here's the Titanic Historical Society, and I was like, interesting. That's the square footage for this place. I was like,
They wrote me a very nasty letter one time.
What?
Yeah, they wrote me, the Titanic Historical Society, they sent me a very nasty letter because I sent them a check for some stationery. Titanic envelopes and stationery with the Titanic letterhead on it. I sent them the money for it, and they sent it to me, and they said, next time you have to send us the full amount of money because it costs us money for postage and all this. And I'm terribly sorry. I sent them a letter of apology. I says, I'm so sorry. I says, just let me know what I owe. I'd be glad to pay it. I didn't, I sent you what I thought it was going to be. There wasn't like a set amount on this. So I thought I sent them, enough money. And of course I sent them the check immediately. But they sent me a very nasty letter. I'm like, ooh.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like, geez, I don't want to piss off the Titanic people now. I'm like, man,
I don't know. I'm actually still waiting on a couple issues from them, magazines.
Oh, the Titanic Commuter?
Yeah, that or the Commutator. I think
Yeah,
it was.
Commutator.
Yeah, and
What do I call it? The Commuter? Commutator.
Commutator. Yeah, I think. And
I got some of the old issues. From
really?
80,
I want
80,
them so
84,
much.
85. Oh. Yeah, with the survivors. They had like a backdrop of the grand staircase, and they had all the survivors in front of it and stuff like that.
How much do you
Photos.
want for it? Oh, man. Oh, that's awesome.
Well, the one I really got to get you a copy of is the Carpathia letter that I got from the guy that I knew. I told you that story. Didn't I tell you that story?
Please do. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I never told. How did I not tell you that story?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
This is going back 20 years ago. I was going to New Orleans. I think my second trip, I've had multiple trips to New Orleans, but I think my second time down to New Orleans was with Richard Crow. We were doing the haunted New Orleans trip. Wow. Richard Crow. Crow calls me and he says, Bob, he says, I want you to go to New Orleans, but I got a guy that's going to be a roommate with you. His name is Bob Dalby. He's a government clerk in Indiana. Nice guy and everything like that. If you room together with him, he says it'll be a couple $100 less for you on the trip and that. I said, well, I don't know. I don't know who he is. I always have my own room and stuff. And then I thought about it a second. I said, okay, I'll do it. No big deal. New Orleans, I'm never in the room anyway. I'm not traveling with millions of dollars in cash or expensive jewelry. Fine, we'll do it. Turned out I never really saw him all that much the whole trip anyway. Anyway, we're sitting on the plane, and on the plane flying down to New Orleans, I'm reading Walter Lord's A Night to Remember, Titanic.
Wow.
Man sitting next to me says, oh, you're reading the book on Titanic. I said, oh, yeah, this is like the Titanic Bible. This book is, he says, it's the great one and all that. He's, oh, yeah, multiple times read it and all this and everything like that. And he's telling me, he says, well, my relatives were on the Carpathia. He says, we got to talk.
Wow.
And I says, what do you mean? He says, oh, yeah, my relatives, my grandparents were on the Carpathia. It was their honeymoon trip. They were heading to the Mediterranean. And then, of course, they got the signal. They picked it up. And he says they sent a letter. They posted a letter all about their experiences. They doubled up in their cabin with another couple. They didn't tell them they were on their honeymoon, but they had another married couple that was rescued, doubled up with them in their cabin for the rest of the trip and all that kind of thing and everything. And he says, would you like a copy of the letter? Turned out this was Bob Dalby. This was the guy that was and we met and sitting next to me. I didn't know that was him, and he was the guy that was my room. So the whole time, we talked about this a couple times on the trip. And then here and there, like one time for dinner on one of the balconies in the French Quarter, we met, and he mentioned it again. We exchanged addresses, and people do this all the time. And I figured, who knows, Yeah. Came back from New Orleans 3 days later. I got the envelope in the mail, in cardboard. He copied a magazine article that he did on it, copy of the letter, copy of the envelope that the letter was in, and all this and everything. I couldn't thank him enough for this. Fantastic, yeah.
Wow.
So, got to get you a copy of that too.
Thank you, Bob.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Put that in your
beautiful.
collection, yeah.
Oh my God!
I told him, Bob, if you ever want to part with the original letter, it would go to a good home. You
Oh,
know, I said
absolutely.
it would go to a good home.
Nice.
So right now, anything Titanic related is commanding unbelievable amounts of money. Anything
Yeah.
Titanic.
Is he
Yeah.
still around?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Wow.
He's still very much alive. Yeah, he's still around. Yeah, he's still with us. Last checking, this was 20 years ago, but he's still very much. I'm sure he's retired by now from government work. Yeah.
I think that, folks who are interested in this field, history, paranormal science, and all
They're
that
all
stuff,
related.
I think we were just destined
Yeah.
to know or be together.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
That's interesting.
I think that it's a set course. And, I mean, for crying out loud, you were sitting right next to him. You
Yeah.
don't even know a darn thing about him.
It goes. I can't
I'm
tell you
like-
how many times that has happened to me with people. How many? Oh,
well, that's
God.
how we met.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh gosh, yes. Oh, you want to meet people? Just go to Bachelor Grove Cemetery. Honestly, I've met more people over there. I've met more people. This show used to be the magnet. This show
Yeah.
used to be my key to meet people. Because would you like to do a show? Sure, they'd come on and do the radio. And of course now people don't really want to do radio too much because it's different now. YouTube and this and that and the other and all that kind of stuff like that and everything like that.
Yeah.
But the Paranormal Radio doing the show was like a great thing. So many people. And of course then too, before I was doing the show weekly when I was doing it, so I had a lot of people always coming on. Groups of
Yeah,
people.
that's
So I made contacts with many people through Paranormal Radio. It's been good.
Wow.
It's been a great thing, yeah. But now it's like the locations. Go to these conventions and go to these things, and that's how you come in contact with all these folks and that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think the celebrities that I've met, I think for me, at least back in the day, was meeting Jason and Grant from Ghost
yeah.
Hunters and stuff. I thought at the time that
I don't even know who they
wow.
are.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't even know who they are.
From the show Ghost Hunters?
Oh, yes, yeah, I don't know at all.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't have cable anymore, and I really wish I
That's
had.
that's right. People always ask me this. Oh, paranormal. Which ones of the shows do you watch? And I said, well, I really don't watch any of them. But I says I have a very good reason for that. It's not like I'm against them. I said I don't have cable.
I don't have
so
cable.
I don't see them. I don't see the shows.
No.
Once in a while, I catch a glimpse of it here or there. But other than that, no, I don't. I don't watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, when I
But
first,
nothing against the shows. I just don't.
yeah,
Okay.
exactly. I kind of stay neutral. And
Called
all
Neil
that.
yesterday just to say Happy New Year.
I'm sorry?
I called Neil yesterday.
Oh, really?
Just to say Happy New Year. Yeah.
Yeah, how did that go?
Okay, he just came back from Wisconsin.
Okay.
And we started talking about the pandemic a little bit. He says, "Oh, Bob, I got to let you go." He says, "I'll call you back," but then he never called back.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. But just called say Happy New Year to him, because I haven't talked to Neil in a while.
Yeah. I have a. Hold on, Bob, my phone fell.
Oh,
Oh.
oops. Yeah.
I have a bone to pick with you, Bob.
Oh.
You
Mashed potatoes and gravy and cornbread.
yes. You didn't show up at Chuck's.
No, I did not. I didn't go. No, I changed my mind about going. With the pandemic thing and all that going so goofy, and then Thursday I was not feeling well myself. Thursday I stayed in bed the whole day. Thursday I wasn't feeling well.
Oh,
I
okay.
decided to call it off. Did you show up over there?
Yeah, I brought a few people too.
Well, why don't you just do some readings yourself? You do the tarot stuff and that. You should have just...
I don't do tarot.
I thought you did tarot readings.
No,
I thought you did.
no. I
I'm
relied
sorry.
on you.
I need to have this line read.
No, I didn't go. I didn't go to Chuck's. No, I didn't. I stayed home. Yeah. I'll do a makeup day. I think I messaged you about that.
No, you didn't. Well, you messaged me when I already messaged you the day after.
yeah. Because no, I decided not to go. Yeah, I didn't go to Chuck's. Yeah, I decided to call it off for New Year's Eve because I says, with this pandemic and places are going to be packed with people, and I don't know how busy Chuck's was. And then I thought, doing what I'm doing, I'm going to be so close to people doing that.
Yeah.
And I thought,
Yeah.
I don't know. Just right now with this going the way it's going,
Yeah.
and I usually do pretty good over there and that. But I'll always do a makeup date with them. They'll say, oh, I'll do Mardi Gras with them, and they'll say, come another weekend if you want. They're pretty good about it. So, yeah.
I just got my booster a few weeks back there, and honestly, I didn't feel a thing. Honestly, I took the Moderna one, and
That's what I got, the Moderna.
Moderna, yeah. I mean,
I got both vaccines of Moderna, and then I got the Moderna. Here's the card. As a matter
oh,
of
the
fact.
card. Oh, yeah, that's cool.
'Cause
Yeah.
now you got to have your card to go in restaurants and this and that and et cetera, et cetera.
But I hear that if you do get vaccinated and they give you the card and everything, I think you go to. I think it's Staples or something like that. Just give them the card, and they'll laminate it for free.
Oh, really?
For you. Yeah.
Jeez, I paid $2 for this thing. I ordered from one of the
Wow.
catalogs. They sent me two of them. I got this sleeve and then another sleeve, and they sent the things to go with it. Yeah.
That looks better than mine. That's pretty cool. Oh.
See, women carry this thing around in their purse. But us, this is a little too big to put in the wallet, isn't it? The size on it, it's not like wallet size. It's a little bigger than it would fit in your wallet.
Billfold.
Which I don't carry a wallet anyway, But so
Yeah.
And now you got to have it with you. Yeah. So I need to hoot. Enough of the pandemic. I don't even talk about pandemic anymore. Baloney with the pandemic. Yeah. Did this happen in 1918? Just talking of history. Yeah, 1918 this happened, and it went. And in 1918 we didn't have any vaccines. We barely had the formula for aspirin.
Yeah.
Germany, part of the terms of the World War I surrender was Germany had to give over the formula for aspirin. Penicillin didn't come around until the 1940s. So that was still 25 years down the road. Yeah. And the pandemic ended. It was over, and people were all still here. The human race didn't die. And now everything we've got and vaccines and this and the other, we can't get rid of this. Oh, there's a new variant. Now, 3 months, 6 months from now, there'll be another new variant. Is this just going to be it? I don't know.
I have my own theory. I'd probably be kicked off the show if I said something else.
I know. A lot of people think a lot of things about this.
Yeah, it's just crazy, But I'm just hoping that this will be the year that
me too. It's gone, and that's the end of it. Enough of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody, we get sick anymore, and it's over with, and obla-di, life goes on,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm hoping, really hoping.
So, Mikey, what are you working on? You got any projects going or anything? Well, we're going to be doing a project. We're going to be talking about that one. We're going to be coming... Coming into that one.
Could you give us a sneak peek?
Yeah, Titanic. We're talking about doing a Titanic project with the gentleman that produces the show here, John Chikanda. Yeah. Him and I are already working on a White House Ghosts History and Mystery program about that. We're working on a project with that. And the next one I want to Titanic, and I want to do it with Mikey.
Awesome.
Because Mikey and I kind of hit it off with Titanic stuff. So
what is that going to be, a documentary or what?
We could produce
the Titanic thing.
No, what you guys are going to do together?
No. We were talking about it. I said I want to do something different. So much has been written and continues to be written and filmed and said and done about Titanic. Right. I want to do something different, something entirely different, like maybe something concentrating on people's lives rather than the disaster itself.
But in what form is this going to take place?
Oh, this will be. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be. If he's going to do it as radio, if he's going to do it as a YouTube project, I'm not exactly sure how he's doing it. If it's something he's going to offer, like up for sale on CDs or something, I'm not sure. John and I were talking about a couple of ideas, and that he's more the business aspect of it. He kind of handles that more like that. But I says we've been talking about this White House project for like years, literally for about 5 years. And I said, let's just do it. One time I just messaged him, let's just get together, let's just do this thing.
Yeah.
I want to do 45 presidents in 45 minutes.
For real?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Oh wow!
I run through them all. How do you think I got this show?
That's incredible.
That's exactly how I got the show. I came on this show
wow.
for President's Day. That gentleman right there in that photo with the green T-shirt.
Yeah.
Mr. Red Ryan, Jack Ryan, was doing a show here called Meet the Chicago Historians. He's, Bob, you're doing that radio. He had him come on my show and that. And you got to come on my show and do it. He says, come on. And they tape theirs during the day when they do the story. Do they still do the historians, John? They quit doing it? They don't do it anymore? Oh, my God. They haven't done it for 2 years? Oh, that's why. But they still want to continue it.
Well, yeah, but who knows when?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Out of all those shows that are hanging there, there's only two I do: Chicago Junction and you.
Oh my God! And we haven't done one in 3 months either.
Wow.
Well, I'm gonna have to just start making a point of coming here and doing them regular and that, and the other thing, and we'll just start doing them.
Screwed up the whole world.
It sure did.
Yeah.
It did. Nothing's ever going to be the same again.
No.
Yeah. But anyway, invited me to come on one day, and it was for February, for Washington's birthday or President's Day or whatever it was, and he said, do something about the presidents. And I started talking about the presidents. And he says, why don't you do a show here? He's do a show here and that. And I said, well, I don't know. I'm doing Paranormal Radio already over there, weekly show. I says, to do it. I said, well, I could do something here, but maybe just once a month we'll do it, Cause do 2 weekly shows, I thought, a little too much work, No. And then, I think 3 or 4 months into this, they canceled all the shows over there. They canceled everything, all of it. They canceled their whole station, all the shows and everything. So I said, okay, fine. I'm doing the show here. So I just kept it the once a month, and I liked the loose formula. Yeah. But I'm getting too loose. Now we haven't done it in 3 months. We haven't done. But there again, too, was pandemic. Wow. And then some people, actually, Carrie, that you know from Moonbeams.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was supposed to come on tonight, but she got COVID.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she got sick with COVID. Yeah, but she messaged me. She's doing well. She's doing okay, and she definitely wants to do the show again. I says, yeah, absolutely. I says, I only do them once a month. So this will be the January show. But I said, February, let me know what's a good night for you when you're all better and things are well and that.
When did she message you?
Huh?
When did she message?
Today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, today.
Okay.
No, she messaged me that she was sick a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
I went to go see her the Wednesday before, not Thanksgiving, the Wednesday before Christmas.
Yeah.
I went to go see her because we worked together at Midnight Terror.
Okay.
Midnight Terror, I was doing the palm readings at, and she has like her little gift stuff that she sells there, and she was one of their vendors there. They kind of added her in there, and that. And so we introduced. She says, "I know you." She says, "I know you. I know you. I know you." And I says, "I'm so sorry. I wish I could say the same thing." She says, "No, I've seen you around, and I know you. I know who you are." And then she says, "You're Bob Trzeciak." I said, "Oh yeah, that's me." And I thought, well, she's, "Oh yeah, because you're all over the place." So she's, and I thought, I don't know, this one here is all over the place. He's all over the place. But she says, "I know who you are." And so we were talking and that, and she wants me to come and do some readings over there with her and that. And I suggested her coming and doing the radio, and we put in a good word for her shop and all that. And,
Nice.
and
Yeah, Carrie, Moonlight Bean, she'll be a vendor at the Paracon.
Oh, she's going to be a vendor
yeah.
over to Paragon. Matter of fact, we can put in a plug for her now, even though she's not here. I got her card.
You have a lot of cards.
Oh,
Bob, you're loaded.
yeah. Well, cards anyway.
Give me a card.
Okay, here we go. A store looking. It's called Curiosity and Monster Shop. It's called Moonlight Ben, and they're at 5561 West 127th Street.
Moonlight Bean.
Moonlight Ben. B-E-E-N. How do you say that?
You're saying Ben.
That's what it is. B-E-E-N. Ben.
Yeah.
I got the card right here, Jack. It's B-E-E-N. Moonlight Ben.
Bean.
Bean?
B-E-E-N.
How do you pronounce that?
Let me see. Let's see. Moonlight Ben.
There.
Ben?
Yeah, that's Ben.
If it was Bean, it would be B-E-A-N. Yeah.
Yeah, like Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
Yeah, that's Moonlight Ben. Unless she pronounces it Bean.
She does pronounce it Bean.
Well, all right. If she pronounces it Bean, we'll say Moonlight Bean. Now, this is Moonlight. Everybody knows how to spell Moonlight. I'm not going to spell that. That's an easy one. But this is spelled B-E-E-N. I would say Moonlight Ben, but if you say it's Bean, and she says it's Bean, it's Moonlight Bean. Anyway, who cares what the name is? Just go to the damn shop and buy something.
Sounds
we
good
don't
to
care.
me.
Show up at 5561 West 127th Street and go over there in Crestwood, Illinois, and buy something out of that Curiosity and Monster Shop. They're nice people. Trust me on this. I'm a nice person.
She is really nice.
Anyway, she is. No, she's a sweet lady.
She's
and her and her
super
husband looks like Saint Nick. When I went there to meet him, when I went there in the shop to talk to her, after the Midnight Terror thing was over and that, when I went there, I says, "Oh my God, it's Saint Nicholas," because he had a little red hat on. He's got the beard and that. So they're nice people. They're a lot of fun. And they're going to come on and do the show next month. They're going to come on.
Awesome.
Moonlight Bean or Ben or however you want to say it. Just go to the shop and buy something. We don't care about the name.
Carrie's a hustler. She does all the vending spots.
Yeah.
She's everywhere. She's great.
That's cool. Wow.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to get around. Well, gentlemen, Mikey, what do you got to say in closing here? Yeah, time went by, didn't it? Man,
Really?
we zoomed.
We can go for another 2 hours. I don't mind.
Yeah, you okay if we stay? John, you all right if we stay for another 2 hours here? And just, you all right if we keep? That happened to me with Richard Crowe. When I Richard Crowe come on the show, we were supposed to do an hour show. And him and I got on, and 2.5 hours we did the show, and we could have still went on. And we were set to do more shows that year. And sure, Bob, if I'm doing a tour or something, I'll phone in or all that. He passed away. We never got the opportunity.
Wow.
Yeah, he passed away. Next time I talked to him was like a couple of weeks before he died, and we never had the opportunity to continue it. Yes.
How was he before he passed away?
I hadn't seen him like when he came to do the show, and when I contacted him, I probably hadn't seen him for maybe a year and a half or 2 years maybe prior. I hadn't seen him for a while. He was fine. I was managing Subway at that time. He came in. We had a Subway sandwich together. We sat. We talked. Yak. We went. We did the show. We had a great time doing that and everything like that. And that was it. Nothing to indicate anything was wrong. And then I guess it just came very sudden for him.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was the end of that. Yeah.
God.
But sometimes that happens. You just go. You get going. And the show just goes. And that's it. Yeah. And you can do a lot of time.
Well, as many folks know, many of my friends, I'm a huge railroad enthusiast.
Oh.
I
Are they doing the railroad junction here?
Yeah.
You got to come here and do
Really?
another
Oh,
show.
yeah,
They
this
do a
is so
show
cool. Oh,
all
my
about
God.
Chicago railroading. Where's it at up there? It's not on the list up there.
Number 4. Yeah.
Chicago Junction. There you go.
Wow. That's.
I was on there a couple of times too. Once or twice I was on there. We talked about the Lincoln funeral train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Third Wednesday at 7 o'clock here.
There you go.
Third
There's
Wednesday.
another show for you. Come on and do the
Beautiful.
Railroad Junction. There you are.
The third Wednesday.
Good friend of mine, Charlie Johnson. Charlie is now sick with COVID. He's had the vaccine and he caught COVID. He got both vaccines and he caught COVID. And Charlie did the announcement. All aboard Chicago
Yeah.
Junction. That's Charlie. Yeah. That's,
No way.
Yeah, he did the announcement. He was never on the show, but he just came to do the announcement.
And it's here.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh,
Right here, right where we're sitting. Right here, a really big shoe. Remember, if you're old enough to remember Ed Sullivan. A really big shoe. Every impersonator, remember every impersonator used to do Ed Sullivan impersonate. If you do it now, they go, who the hell are you talking about? Nobody knows Ed Sullivan anymore.
The
Yeah.
Beatles.
Oh, God, yes, yeah. Or he'd forget. Like one time he had the Supremes on, and he'd say, and we have the girls.
Wow. Oh,
And
my
Lawrence
God.
Welk was great for doing that stuff, too. Lawrence
Yeah.
Welk flubs. The band will now play a medley of songs from World War I. He was reading it off the cue card.
That's hilarious. Oh, my God.
The Willowbrook Ballroom.
Oh, yeah. The good old, I was never inside of the Willowbrook.
Same here.
Never was it. And my brother worked there for a few years as a busboy and everything. I never was in there. Never. As many years, I was never in there. But I do have a couple of bricks from it.
Wow.
I got some bricks from the building, but I was never in there. Never.
Wow.
No.
That was my home away from home.
Yeah, right across from Legends there. It's all, you don't even know it was there. I thought they were going to leave the sign up. The old sign was there, but
Yeah.
they took everything down. No, it's all gone.
What's happening now with it? I mean, I've
Oh,
seen
condos.
construction-
They were going to put a performing arts center there. That was the original idea.
That's what I thought.
And then
Yeah.
then the village all protested. No, we don't want that. Too much traffic, too much mess, too much yada yada yada. So they said no. So now it's going to be deluxe condos. Yeah, deluxe like high end condos.
As if that's not going to bring traffic, too.
Exactly. They'll be in and out of the
live,
place.
no, people that live in condos don't drive cars.
Right there, you have to. There's-
No.
How else are you
People
going to get around?
People that don't live in those deluxe condos, they don't drive cars.
Don't they have like a parking garage like
They have chauffeurs.
right across? I know. There's the castle on the right hand
Yeah,
side of the street. If you're going north, on the opposite side, they have like another condo association.
Oh, yeah.
But I think they have like underground parking or something like that. I'm not sure what it's going to be. This one at the Willowbrook, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. Yeah.
But they have like a new Italian place though, a new Italian restaurant.
Yeah, I saw that,
Isn't
yeah.
that Italian
Nino's.
place here? Nino's.
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 Nino's. I used Nino's last year on my tour for the tour I did with the Central Stickney Park, the paranormal tour. I used them as my food stop.
I haven't been. Are they good?
It used to be Greco's.
Greco's.
And when I went
that's
in there,
right.
I thought I was going into Greco's. And then I saw the sign, it's Nino's. And I talked to Carm, a real nice guy, very nice. I talked to him, he gave me a real good price on the food. Excellent.
Nice.
There's another plug for you. Nino's over on Archer Road. I'm telling you, I'm going to go to these places. I'm going to get free meals and free stuff from Moonlight Bean and Ben or whatever you want to call them. I'm going to get free stuff from them. I'm going to get all this free stuff from these people. I keep plugging it. Yeah. I keep up. But no, Nino's is great. They're right across from Irish Legends. Irish Legends is really good food too. There's another one. Yeah. But
wow.
no, but they're great. They used to be Greco's and now it's Nino's and their food was dynamite.
Really?
I used them for the lunch stop for the tour and it was fantastic.
Oh, that's cool.
Everybody raved about it. It was really good. Yeah, really nice. Yeah, I'm going to be doing bingo over there too. They wants to start up a bingo game. He was talking to me about coming over there and calling bingo for them, so for the seniors. So
I really hope they bring back the sign. I mean, that's so.
oh no, it's
darn
gone.
Iconic.
It's
Yeah.
gone. Yeah, they tore it down.
is
It's gone.
It's unbelievable. I mean, I seen it last time. It was all lit. I was going right. I actually I was on a trip there. I went to Legends, and I was saying, "Oh my God, this thing's lit. It's on."
Yeah.
I think like a generator was powering it or something like that on the side.
I thought they would leave it just for the sake of nostalgia, but no,
Same.
gone. Now, the old Candlelight Forum Theater, which used to be on Harlem Avenue, where I worked when I was a kid, this is 50 years ago. I was like 13 years old. I got a job there, and they tore it all down. It's all gone, everything like that. But the one sign there for Portillo's, that sign is the only thing left. That sign used to say, parking for Candlelight Forum Dinner Theaters. Parking.
Wow.
And they left a sign, and they use it now for Portillo's. But that's the only thing left from Candlelight. And if you go further out to Bolingbrook, Illinois,
Yeah.
over where the old Chicago amusement park used to be way back. I worked in all these places that are torn down now.
Wow.
They have a sign up there, Old Chicago Drive, and that's the road sign. And that's right where Old Chicago, you turn right down that road, and that's right where the amusement park was. You went to Old Chicago, right there.
Wow.
So they do have a road sign there. It's called Old Chicago Drive, but that's it. That's all that's left.
And
That's
Riverside Amusement Park, Riverside, or I think Riverview.
Riverview,
Yeah.
Riverview was Toys R Us.
Yeah.
Toys R Us up on Belmont and
Western
Belmont. Yeah.
Western.
Oh God, I remember Riverview. I remember the freak show. Going to the freak show with my father. We'd go in there and look at the freak show, and then I would talk to everybody.
Riverview
What was
Park.
it?
Riverview
was
Park.
a big amusement park in Chicago.
Riverview
Yeah.
Park was
I think it
about
was a little before my time.
Oh, John
It was also-
Strachan.
Riverview Park was about 3 blocks away from where I lived on, because I lived at Addison and Oakley.
Oh,
And
gosh.
when I looked out my bedroom window, I could see Lane Tech Clock Tower,
Wow.
and to the south was Riverview Park.
I never rode the not
Bobs.
the shoot
The Bobs.
I went on. Oh no, I was on the Bobs. Are you kidding? My father had his arm around me, and I had my arm around the bar holding on. No straps or nothing to tie you in. You just held on for dear life. If you fell out of the thing, who cared? You know. But I'm holding on to the bar for dear life with both hands. My father's holding on, and he's got his arm around me, and we're both standing up in the seat as the thing's going down. We had a blast. Let's go do it again.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we were daredevils. My father would drag me onto everything. My brother Ray, I don't know, wouldn't go on nothing. But we go in the freak show. Come on, Bobby, let's go in here.
I'm going to tell you a little story about
we go in the freak show.
I'll tell you a little story about Riverview Park. They had the chutes.
The parachutes?
The parachutes.
I never went on that. I was too
Uh-huh.
little.
Well,
They
I
wouldn't let
did.
me on.
Once I went on that, and I tell you, my dear friend Eddie Rosanek, I had to talk him on to go on to the chutes with me. So we get up to the platform, and you sit on like a 2x4.
Yeah.
It's very skinny. So we get there, and all of a sudden he says, "Okay, you're going up." So up we go, and because it goes up slow, so it goes all the way up, and we were maybe about a foot from the top, and Commonwealth Edison went boom, and there we sat for a half hour up in the air.
Oh, no.
I
We
always
got
thought
we got stuck up there.
I always thought they had like an emergency release
Well,
or something.
I don't
and
know
they would
what
hit
they
it,
would-
and then
I
it
don't
would-
know, but
the
anyway,
chute would
so-
open and you'd come down, but
So
maybe they didn't.
we were sitting up there, and after about 20 minutes, that the blood calmed down in our
Oh
veins.
my God.
We could see Michigan City. I mean, you could see we were facing the Lake Michigan. I mean, that was one good thing, and it was a beautiful sight. I wish I would have had a camera, but we were sat up there, and then all of a sudden they kept howling on megaphones. Everything will be okay. Just sit. We're working to get you down, and this, that, and everything else. And all of a sudden, we heard the music come on. We saw other lights come on, and then all of a sudden we knew Edison got their power back, and then down we came.
We got stuck one time on the Skyway, those cars that used to go across the whole park.
Yeah.
One time a high wind or something came up and they stopped, and it was not long though, and then it came back on, and then on we went.
I
But we
used to be at Riverview Park from the day it opened in May until it closed at Labor Day, because being so close, I used to go over there, and what I used to enjoy doing is sit by the parachute jump, where the boats came down the ramp.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you went to Aladdin's Castle where the
Well, I was
where,
in-
where the air shoots were, and you watched the ladies'
Yeah,
skirts go up in the air.
I was there a couple of times, but I used to enjoy sitting by the parachutes,
When you came
and when the boats come down, and then they would splash, and then I would sit right in front of it, and then behind me was the speaker, the speaker for music, and I used to enjoy and a nice warm summer breeze. And then another thing that I remember about Riverview Park, WGN Radio had a garage that they set up over there, and they were broadcasting from there Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights about 8 o'clock. Buddy Black.
Oh, I never did WLS broadcast from Riverview. I never did.
Yeah,
never
no,
did.
they were broadcast a half hour from Riverview Park.
They originally broadcast from the Sears Tower, the original Sears Tower on Holman Avenue.
No. I mean, they had a show. They had a show at Riverview Park, and Buddy Black was the announcer. I think it was Buddy Black. But anyways, when I found out that they were broadcasting from there, what I did is I went home, got a clock radio, got a tape recorder. I had it set before I went to Riverview Park. I set the clock radio for when the time they come on the air, and we would go there. And when they would come on the air, we would holler and scream and yell and whistle and all that. And then we would go home and play the
And
tape.
you'd be on there screaming and yelling and whistling.
We could hear ourselves on the tape. Yep. Good old Riverview
Oh,
Park.
God, it was a lot of fun.
Gone but not forgotten.
When we were kids, we used to call it the Genie House, but it was Aladdin's Castle.
Yep.
And when you got out of Aladdin's Castle, like when you were leaving, they had some kind of a clown or it was a dwarf or whatever the guy was.
Yeah.
And he was like an evil little thing.
Oh my God.
And the women would be walking out of it, and you hit a certain spot, he'd hit these air jets, and their skirts would fly up in the air.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And then the freak show. Now my dad, come on, my father was a great one. The double Ferris wheel. Did you ever heard of a double Ferris wheel? Mm-hmm. We went on the double Ferris wheel. My father dragged me on everything. He didn't care. My brother wouldn't go on nothing. My mom wouldn't go on that stuff. Come on, Bobby, let's go. We go on everything. So we're going to the freak show. Okay, I go on the freak show with my father, and I'm talking to the fat man, and I'm talking to the lady with the hoofs on her. Cow's hoofs on her hands, and I'm shaking hands with her, touching the hoofs, and I'm talking to Popeye's, popping his eye out, and all this, and so we get out of there. My mother says, "What the heck were you two doing in there so long?" My father says, "This one here, yak." I talked to all of them. I talked to everybody.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then another
They were people.
Another
That's how they
great,
made their living.
another great ride they had. There was Mill on the Floss. Where you
Oh,
went on
that's
that
where you took
boat.
your girlfriend.
Yeah, you went in.
You took your girlfriend to the Mill on the Floss, John. I know
Yeah.
what you were doing in the Mill on the Floss. Yeah, going through that dark tunnel.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And
See,
then
I was too young for that. I was a kid. I was too
Yeah.
young to have a girlfriend going through the Mill on the Floss. But this old codger here took how many young beauties you took to the Mill on the Floss? I'll bet.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
first
see?
SOS call.
Yeah.
Those were the good old days of great entertainment.
It was a lot of fun. And you know
Yeah.
what? $5 you could be there all day.
Wow.
Honest to God, they used to have
Well, you know
2
what?
cent Tuesdays. Can you imagine? You rode the rides for 2 cents on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. Wait, no, not 5 cents.
2 cent Tuesdays.
No, it was Monday. It
I thought it was Tuesday.
It was 5-cent nights on Tuesday. Tuesday and Thursday was you ride.
All right, I'm gonna take. You would know because you live 3 blocks away. You would know. You probably spent a lot more time there than I did.
When we used to do in the daytime, a couple of us guys, we would go there because it was 2 cents, and let's ride again. So let's ride again for 5 cents. Well, you get off, pay 2 cents, get
back
right
on.
back
Yeah,
on again.
oh, God, yeah.
So you get 2 rides for less than 5 cents.
If the operator liked you, he just let you on. You didn't buy the ticket.
Yeah.
Go ahead, get in there. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
The highest paid operator, I did a whole program on Chicago amusement parks and all that. But the guy that made the most money at Riverview was the guy that ran the Shoot to Shoots, the boat that went down into the water.
Yeah.
He got paid $10 a day.
Yeah.
He was the highest paid ride operator.
that's where I used to enjoy sitting there at nighttime.
I was
sitting
so
there.
afraid of it when I was a kid. I thought, if you fall in that water, it's 100 feet deep and you'll drown there. It was like 18 inches deep.
Oh,
It was like
wow.
this deep.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
that deep. I always thought it was so deep because it was this big lagoon. And the barge would go down in the thing and the water would splash
that
up.
used to be so much fun. God, I tell you.
Do you remember White City? Maybe
White-
not. White City may have been a little before you. If you remember White City, you would have had to been a kid. White City was an amusement park before, right around the same time at Riverview. But it came first. It was called White City. I don't know the exact address, but it was called the White City. And what you actually did is they built it and they modeled it about 1902, 1903 maybe. They modeled it after the Columbian Exposition.
Yeah.
And they built it there and it was called the White City. And it looked like the Columbian Exposition. And that was an amusement park for through the Depression. And then finally the Depression had closed it. They had a couple of fires and things and they took it down. But then Riverview still succeeded. Riverview stade.
Wow. Yeah, Riverview was on
closed in 68, was it, or 67?
67.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There's a lot of
I remember Riverview.
things in 1967
Oh God, yes.
that disappeared. Riverview Park was one of them,
Bobby Kennedy.
and the Aragon Ballroom over at Lawrence.
Bobby Kennedy died a little later on.
Yeah,
in 68
and
or
then
something.
the Aragon Ballroom at Lawrence and Broadway that closed for the music of the big band era.
Yeah, it's the
White City.
passing of time.
White City was located on 63rd and what's today the Martin Luther King Drive.
Ah, there you go.
wow.
It was South Side.
So
yeah.
It's called White City.
Grand Crossing
And in
neighborhood.
actuality, it was a White City because they were black people. You were welcome. I mean, you could come in there. You could pay the 10 cents admission and go to the White City, but you really were kind of made to feel not welcome. But they were allowed in, but they were really not made to feel too well. And for a while, Riverview was like that too. I remember Riverview was that way too with black people and that. They had the African dip, the ball throw thing, where the black guy would sit in the tank and you throw the ball and you knock him in the water, and he would taunt the guys, make faces and get them to buy the ball to throw in it. But then they decided, no, it's getting too racist, so they took the black guy out and they put girls in bathing suits in there.
And you know who?
Yeah, this was the entertainment. Those days. But those guys didn't like it because them guys made about $300 a week doing that African dip, and they didn't like it when they took that job away from them. No, it's getting degrading and it's racially,
Bob, you know who ran Riverview Park? Was a big stockholder in Riverview Park?
Who?
Was Charlie Weber.
Oh, Chuck Weber?
Yeah, Charlie. Charlie Weber. He was an alderman in that area. He was a.
Well, that figures.
Yeah,
he probably had cahoots with all the concessions too, and got money out of it.
Did. Yep,
I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, Riverview was a moneymaker for many, many years.
Oh, yes.
It was a great little place to go.
And then on
the safari ride, the water. They had the bumper cars on the water bugs, were they called?
Yep.
And the other thing, I forget what the name of the thing was, but it stunk like all hell, especially when it was hot in summer. You'd be going around in a circle, and the cover would come over the top on you.
Oh, the tilt-a-wheel.
No, not the tilt-a-wheel. Spins around.
Oh.
You're going around, it spins. You sit in the thing, and you all lean to one side and get it to spin. You lean to the other side and get it to spin. The thing was the caterpillar.
Oh, the caterpillar, yeah.
You'd go around, it would go up the hill and that, and then the cover would come over, you'd be in the dark, and then when the cover would come over, it smelled in there.
The two great things in my life disappeared in 1967 was Riverview Park and the Aragon Ballroom. Yeah. And I was at the Aragon Ballroom many, many times broadcasting with WGN.
Time passes. I tell you, things go by. I was looking at stuff the other day. Somebody put up a whole, I mentioned Candlelight Dinner Theater a little bit earlier. I mentioned that. And somebody put up a whole Facebook page about Candlelight. Oh, my God. I couldn't believe there were like photos of the old shows and stuff.
Yep.
I was there for all of that. I ran the spotlights for all those shows. But I couldn't believe that much time went by. I was like 13, 14 years old when I got the job there, thanks to my brother. And I worked there like all through high school. And I said, that's like 50 years ago. I said, 50 years? That's a whole lifetime that went by. Man, I can't get over it. How time goes.
Time waits for no one, Bob.
You're telling me, man, it goes.
Yep.
Poosh, I tell you.
Yeah, the Titanic. I think it's going to be her 112th anniversary. I think.
Well, 1912.
Yeah.
To 2022.
I think 112.
Is that 112 or 100? Yeah.
How I pass physics with a B, I'll never know.
Well, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 109, 110 years.
110. Okay, yeah.
110.
Yeah, and but the actual ship itself is
falling apart.
Is older than that. I think the oldest part of the ship is actually the keel. That was the first
1911.
1909.
True, they laid the keel in 1909. Yeah. The ship was launched in 1911.
Yeah. And that was the last thing holding that sucker together.
Yeah.
It's the last thing that failed. It's probably the strongest part of the ship.
Yeah.
The thing had.
It's all under the ocean floor now. It's all buried in because it's so dug in.
Yeah. It's if you take a picture.
I can remember when Bob Ballard first found the wreck in 1985, and some of the first photos and stuff they brought up. Now you could actually look through the gymnasium and see the handles on the mechanical horse and the mechanical camel, and some of the mesh covering over the gearing on the machines. Now it's all gone. Now it all collapsed in, all gone, all lost.
I think they mentioned the tub too.
Captain Smith's quarters, his bathroom, his bathroom and his quarters. Yeah,
I think you can still see the porcelain of the tub. Half of it's like
all rusted over.
Rusted over. Yeah. But it's still visible. But I think it collapsed someplace in the center.
It gradually, just all falling in. It's
Yeah. I think it was the one marine biologist. He was a specialist in steel. I think his name was Roy Cullimar. I think it was, and he did a special back in '98 or I think before when or after the movie came out in '97, I think it was, and he predicted that the entire ship within 90 years or so will completely be an iron ore deposit.
Yeah, just be a big bunch of rust on the ocean floor. That'll be it. Nothing left of it. Yeah,
she's going quick.
Yeah. Well, there again, time waits for no one. Oxidation, and all that. All but the pyramids, they're still there. The pyramids and the Sphinx. They're there forever. The Sphinx and the pyramids are going to be there forever. We'll be long gone from this earth, there won't be any people left on the earth, and the Sphinx and the pyramids will still be sitting there. The Sphinx will be there.
Isn't that weird or what? Yeah. Guarding for the Forbidden Tomb.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that wild? Yeah. Something built that many, many, many years ago is still there. And no one to this day knows how they did it. That's a whole other show. Yeah,
we got Atlantis yet. We'll talk about that.
Oh, gosh, yes, yeah. You could just go on and on and on and on and on. We covered everything here. Who did we miss? Did we miss any? Did we miss anybody? We covered the White City Riverview. We got the Titanic. We got the conventions. We threw the plugs in for everybody we know and all. Yeah, we got them all covered.
This was a full show.
Yeah. Well, God, thank you guys. Come back and do it again.
We'll
Mikey.
get Chinese.
Yeah. We'll have food brought in. We'll be here overnight. Yeah. One of these days we'll do like a radio marathon or something like that. We used to do some locations, but John doesn't do them anymore. It's just too hard for him to move the equipment around and all that stuff like that. But we did like Irish Legends. We did broadcasts from there one time. A couple times when I was talking at some of the libraries, they set up and did some things, and they're fun to do. And like your convention like that would be, it'd be nice to do those kind of things. But it's just too hard for him now to do it.
Cool.
It's too hard. He doesn't do them anymore. Yeah. Yeah, they're fun to do. Mikey, thank you so much. Gosh, come back anytime you like. We gotta we gotta continue it. There's always stuff. See, now you met another new friend here.
There you go.
Jack, I'm surprised you didn't know each
No,
other.
I didn't.
If I did, it's been one heck of a long way ago. I don't know. I just.
Yeah, because Jack gets around all over the place.
That's cool.
He gets around.
Yeah.
He's all over. Yeah, he hops around everywhere.
That's wonderful.
Well, it's good to meet you finally.
Same here, man. Same here. Yeah.
I've known of him because he's like good friends with Tony Sabelski.
Oh yeah.
And I always see pictures of Tony Sabelski, and there's Jack Blue. He used to go by the name Jack Blue. And I said, there's Jack. And then one time at Bachelor's Grove, I said, that's that Jack Blue guy that I always see the photos of. There he is. I meet a lot of people at Bachelor's Grove. Yeah.
Popular place.
I met some witches there one time. All the time. You never know who you're going to meet. Oh yeah. Wiccans, they're witches, they're Wiccans.
Oh yeah,
They're always there.
That's cool.
You never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Well, anyway, John, thank you so much. It's great. Jack,
thanks John.
Thanks for coming on, Jack.
Thank you.
Mikey, thank you for coming on. And guys, anytime, come back on anytime you'd like to.
Awesome. Thank you.
Come back when Carrie's on here next month.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know how much she'll have to talk about with the store. I don't know. Well, no, she's got stories. Carrie, we can talk.
I'll help her out.
Folks, thank you so much for listening to Paranormal Radio. And John, thank you. It's just an absolute joy to come and do these shows. We do have one set up for February. I'm not sure of the date for that one yet, but we will be doing a February show. And we're going to try to get them in back once a month like we were doing for a while. So we're going to try to work them in on every month like that, not leave a lapse in time in the shows and that. And everyone, please stay safe with the pandemic. Take the precautions you need to take. Be careful with the cold weather, with your driving and everything. And everyone just have a wonderful after Christmas now, and things are a little calmed down, and take it easy, sit by the fireside and relax and enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you all next month. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You have been listening to Paranormal Radio with Bob Trzeciak from the John DeVita Broadcast Center on the Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network. Paranormal Radio was directed by John DeVita, and our special thanks to the executive producer of Windy City Hometown Entertainment Network, Mr. John Chikanda. This broadcast was pre-recorded on Monday, January the 3rd, the year 2022. Until next time, friends, please be safe and thanks for listening. And most of all, Happy New Year.